May 9th, 2025, peoples of Africa, terrorists have been wiped out. As always, we send you our greetings. Many terrorists have been sent on their way. Yes, this is a coordinated operation by the FI Unified Forces of the Alliance of Sahel States, and the operation was carried out on both sides of the border by Nigerian and Malian forces. The operation was carried out on Malian territory. This is not the first time. The three Eastern armies had already conducted several operations in what is called the tri-border area. That's where the terrorists had settled, where the terrorists were at ease, back when their masters, the imperialists, were still in our countries, in each of our countries, whether in Mali, Burkina Faso, or Niger. Since we drove those imperialists out, we ourselves have set foot there. Not long ago, in the Tessie area, that is on the Malian side, in the tri-border zone, Mali eliminated terrorists. On the Burkina side, same thing, and in Niger, the AS armies move about freely, dealing with the terrorists on both sides of the borders. We no longer have borders to limit us, to block us. That was the trap that was set for us in the past. The Fama have issued a statement, and that's why we decided not only to explain it a bit, but above all to comment on this communication from the Fama through the DERPA. Here, for us, the DERPA is our information directorate. Understand, it's on behalf of the Malian armed forces. It's a way for the army to communicate directly with the people of Mali and even those in West Africa. But for such an operation, we must first acknowledge something. A very important operation. What is it? It's the coordination and especially the planning and execution made possible by the intelligence from Mali, Niger, and undoubtedly also Burkina Faso. In the eastern countries, they mainly collaborated together. Allow us to acknowledge the head of Malian intelligence, General Modibo Kone, the financier. The man who simply delivers result. Oh yes, that's how he is. Very efficient. So, the operations were very well coordinated. Very well coordinated and now well executed by the armed forces of our two countries. We're talking about Mali and Niger. So, very good coordination. This is what we've been waiting for a long time. In the past, it was the Macron army that coordinated operations, doing everything to prevent Mali from working with Burkina, from working with Niger. Only Emmanuel Macron's men had bases in Mali, Burkina, Niger, and Chad. But none of us had the right to have a base in each other's country. Yet the problem concerns us first and foremost, and they come from across the Mediterranean, from the other side, and then they create the G5 Sahel, a group, of 5 Sahel countries. They created that. And then they say, now you are going to operate. The G5 Sahel has never neutralized a single terrorist. We don't have any such information. Not a single terrorist. The G5 Sahel has only held meetings in lounges, in closed offices. Nothing. Macron had the nerve to summon our heads of state to Pau. Now, if he tries to summon the current leaders, he won't even be able to call them. That's when he'll understand. But the leaders who used to rush to meet them, people said they were democratically elected. As for us, our current leaders have been chosen through revolutionary means. That's what it leads to. So, we have no lessons to take from anyone. Congratulations on this. 100% the African operation. Intelligence from Africans, planned by Africans, carried out by Africans, with African resources. How can terrorists who arrive on motorcycles manage to evade our armies? And the location where the operation took place is not actually in the town of Ideliman itself, but 35 kilometers from that town. It's located in the Menaka region. The Menaka region, that's where we ask, has Bazoum been avenged? Or are Bazoum's pawns still not at ease? Bazoum was so afraid he had become so resigned. Bazoum had even given dates, almost, predicting that Menaka in Mali was going to fall. So much so that from the tri-border area all the way to Menaka, the imperialists had infested the area with terrorists. The images and intelligence they were sending to their lucky Bazoum were simply frightening, terrifying for Mohamed Bazoum. So he just couldn't believe it. Imagine the president of Niger sitting over there and saying that a locality in Mali is going to fall. You can't call that leadership. What would you even call that? And today, ever since he was retired, the Malian and Nigerian soldiers have been quietly pacifying the area. The Malian and Nigerian soldiers travel from Niger all the way to Menaka. From Menaka to Niger, they go back and forth. We say to Bazoum, you also underestimated the determination of some Africans. It's just a matter of equipment, that's all. Is a Macron-era soldier braver than an African soldier? Is he stronger than him? They used to say that we were going to go and free them. They just have the latest generation equipment most of the time. Fourth generation fighter jets and so on. Give those planes to African countries, nuclear weapons. So if they gave them to an African country, then we'll see. If they come and pump our oil for free. Well, Bazoum, wherever he is, I think he's received the information. Because I don't know who's informing him. But he should be reassured now. He didn't need it. Niger, which was listed among the 3 poorest countries in Africa. Niger, whose uranium has been stolen since the years 75, 78, since those years. Niger, which helped electrify a large part of the Mocan continent. But Niger itself had no electricity. Its children slept in the dark. Niger, on whose land, over an area of 120 hectares, several nuclear uranium residues were left. Niger, where millions of tons, 20 million tons of waste are left out in the open. Niger, which saw several 100,000 tons of uranium stolen and taken elsewhere. Niger, which had been stripped of everything, and despite the meager resources that remained there. Bazoum. In the case of non-aggression pacts like the one Patrice Talon just signed with the terrorists, if the terrorists were to respect it, as Mauritania has with these people, Bazoum wanted to draw from Niger's reserves again to give that to the terrorists. And the terrorists would have been strengthened. If they weren't going to attack the government of Niger directly, they would attack certain positions of the Nigerian army and also target Mali, Burkina Faso, and even Nigeria. If Patrice Talon thinks he is safe, has Togo signed the same agreement? Has Ghana signed the same agreement? The countries of the sub-region must say no to any leader who wants to sign a non-aggression pact with the terrorists. Because quite simply, the pact involves disarming your soldiers, demilitarizing certain areas, allowing the terrorists' equipment to come through your port, but they will strengthen themselves in your country. And sooner or later, it's just a matter of time. No one should accept this, neither the Beninese, nor us, the neighboring countries, that is Burkina, Niger. No, we must not accept it. As a result of this joint operation carried out by the armies of Mali and Niger, so this operation conducted by FIAS, the unified force of the alliance of Sahel states involving the 3 countries, we have a terrorist base that was completely neutralized. Oh yes, I didn't say partially. The base was obliterated by the aerial assets of the 2 countries that intervened first. Then, it is said that several terrorists were put out of action, rendered incapable of causing harm. Understand what that means. That's military jargon. And I know that you know what I'm saying. Many terrorists will no longer be a threat in that area. A lot of equipment was seized and destroyed. Why? No? Because the area was swept afterward. Yeah. Right after the aerial assets, the forces that were prepositioned not far from there immediately moved into the operational zone, cleared it, took any equipment that could be salvaged, and as for the rest, it wasn't worth it. They had to be destroyed, perhaps after being examined. Because with every base destroyed, we gain intelligence, we gain a lot of things. We should commend the professionalism of the Eastern countries, of the Eastern military. No civilians were killed in this operation. Not a single civilian was even scratched, let alone injured. For those who until now have tried to make people believe that the Eastern armies cannot carry out any operation without making mistakes, they have their answer today. This was an operation that was conducted cleanly, properly, without any issues by our armies. There was no civilian was even scratched. The ones who wouldn't terrorize the civilians are their terrorists, who often go so far as to burn the crops. They claim they do it in the name of Islam. I say, but you will not find anywhere in the Quran, that in the Hadiths, where it says you should burn the crops of peaceful farmers. Such a thing does not exist. But people are increasingly realizing that these individuals who came preaching in the name of a religion are far from fighting for a religious cause. They are fighting for gas, for oil, for the imperialists. They are waging war against countries that have decided to break free from imperialist hegemony. That is what this is really about. People understand this, and I even think that in the long run, these Africans who have turned into terrorists will eventually understand as well. We ask them to understand, to lay down their arms, not to play into this game. Emmanuel Macron doesn't have his family sending him to commit acts of terrorism. These are still Africans who are likely being neutralized by African armies. But why? For what outcome? It's sad. Truly, it's very sad. They have all of this is happening in a context where the imperialists believe that the terrorists they support could harm the armies of the East. They had especially decided to step up attacks in there against Mali. Undoubtedly, the imperialists wanted to do this in connection with the few demonstrations that had taken place here. But now, that's behind us. Today, it was RFI, Jeune Afrique, France 24, L'Express, I don't know what else, all their media outlets. They called for a mobilization on May 9th, but there was nothing here. There was nothing. Even if you're riding a motorcycle there, you shouldn't stop over there. Behind the scenes, some political leaders even called to give up, to postpone everything entirely. I even tell them you should give up on that. It doesn't make you any greater. No, they gave up on it. At the very least, we should acknowledge this action. It's Mali that wins. This action should be acknowledged. We hold no animosity. We simply want to make sure that no Malian, whether rightly or wrongly, willingly or unwillingly, ends up being used for Emmanuel Macron's interests against those of Mali, whatever the pretext may be. No matter how madly one might be in love with power, with the comfort that comes with power, no matter how much one might feel, I don't know, destined to lead Mali. This is not the way to do it. One should not compromise oneself too much. Some have compromised themselves a great deal. They have even collaborated. How can we understand that FLA is handling the communications? For people here who call themselves Democrats, and they haven't even issued a statement to condemn and say that the FLA terrorists, we are not with you. How do you explain that? The FLA terrorists who want to partition Mali, who spread terror in Mali, when these people start handling your communication, saying, encouraging you that you are together, but tell yourselves, stop right away, say that. If that's the case, we are stopping right here. We are not here, we are not going to serve as your pretext, because in 2012, that's exactly what happened. While some orchestrated a coup d'etat here in the south, in the north, things were overturned. From then on, they put us in trouble. Until finally, the army, not even in 2020, but in 2021, decided to take responsibility to save what could still be saved of Mali, and then to begin the reconquest. And during this time, the war budget is considerable. Some were led to believe that, no, Mali is investing a lot in weapons and so on. But to launch missiles, there is not a single missile that costs less than 5 million CFA francs. Where are we supposed to get that money? Is it the IMF or the World Bank that will give you the money to buy missiles and bomb the terrorists? Never. So we have to contribute. Taxes, we would need mining resources, yes. And the same That's why I ask, is there collusion? And here you are saying those taxes, Malians are suffering. But in France, don't people pay taxes? In Western countries, often taxes are deducted from you. They deduct, they take it directly from your bank account. Those who are over there help us out. True or false? Often they cut it right at the source, don't they? But here they tell you, no, it's not like that. Who is going to check your bank account here? No one. Africans have been made to believe that it's the IMF and development aid that will make Africans develop. And because of that, we always saw them as superiors, as saviors, as masters. That's not true. In fact, they themselves are up to their necks in debt. What country is going to help you develop? We have to rely on our own efforts. So during this time, the terrorists had attacked the town of Sahel, not far from Algeria, with about 6 drones, all of which were neutralized by the Malian armed forces. Even today, a drone was neutralized in the locality of Mere. But the leaders of neighboring countries who are complicit with the imperialists, who allow drones to pass through their countries to be given to the terrorists. But the terrorists could turn those drones against you tomorrow. Are you prepared to counter these drone attacks? For now, we are countering them. And we are also destroying more and more terrorist bases. People of Africa, this is what it's all about. We wanted to talk to you about this point. Congratulations to the armed forces in the East for this achievement. So the anti-terrorist force in the East is in operation. What about the so-called ECOWAS anti-terrorist force that has been in draft form for over 10 years? Still nothing. Plenty of bureaucracy, nothing on the ground. And these are the people they call pseudo-democrats. We, who are called juntas or whatever, the true revolutionaries, we are not about speeches, but about concrete actions. We are not obliged to beg terrorists for agreements like Patrice Talon or others. No. Strengthen your armies, defend your country with dignity and pride, and do not bow your head. No. No. That's not good. That's not African. That's not the country of Matishereku, of General Matishereku. People of Africa, we thank you and see you tomorrow for another topic at the forefront of the news.